Okay, chapter 4.7, inequalities. Okay, inequalities. Let's say we have an inequality A is less than B. How do you read this? This means we read it as A is less than B, right? So this means A, the value of A is always less than B, right? Less than B, smaller than B. Okay, if there's equal sign, then we have more definitions. Less than B means A can be equal to B, right? A can be equal to B, but A is less than B. So A is less than B or equal to B. That's how we read. A is less than B or equal to B. So since A are the numbers that is less than B and then equals to B. So the greatest number, the maximum number of A is B, right? So if there's equal sign, then the maximum value of A is B. The maximum of value of A is B. So the maximum means A is at most. Right? A is at most B. The value of A is at most the value of B. Make sense? The value of A is at most because the maximum value is B, right? Maximum is B. So if A is less than or equal to, there's equal sign here, then the maximum value is B. So A is at most B. So if we have a sentence like this, the speed is at most 50 miles per hour. Then the maximum speed is 50 miles, right? 50 miles. Okay, the greater than. So A is greater than B. So that means A is larger than B. A is, the value of A is more than B, right? More than B. So A exceeds B. Your speed limit cannot exceed 50 miles per hour. That means 50 is okay, right? 50 is okay. So above 50 is not okay. So A exceeds B means A is greater than B. And if there is equal sign, okay, equal sign. So this is A is greater than B or equal to B, which means the minimum value of A is B, right? The minimum value of A is B because A is always greater, larger, right? Greater and larger, or equal to B. So the minimum value of A is B. So if B is the minimum value, then we can also say that A is at least, right? Minimum or at least. So A is at least B. So at least means the minimum value of A is B. Okay, so based on this information, we can use greater than equal to or less than or equal to. So maximum at least, maximum value at most, that means that value is the maximum number. So A should be less than or equal to. For minimum and at least, minimum means the smallest number. So A, the smallest number is B. So A is always greater than B. Make sense? Okay, so this is the inequality. So let's read example 1 and write an inequality. Okay, a student must have 450 points out of 500 points on the 5 tests to receive an A in a course. So for the math course, let's say we have 5 tests. So 100 points each, then you will make 500 points, right? 5 tests, 500 points. So in order to get an A, you must get 450 or more. This is what it says. 450, at least 450. So the sum of all 5 test scores should be at least 450. Does it make sense? At least. So 450 means at least, right? At least 450. So the minimum is what? At least or minimum. So this is the at least or minimum. Minimum of 450. So let's add up the 4 tests. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th test. So how much? So what should be the score on the last test, which is the 5th test, to get an A? So let's add up all 5 tests. So the last test score is we don't know. So let's make it X points. The score is X. Okay, the last test score is, let's say, X. So sum of all 5 tests is 93, 79 plus 87 plus 94 plus the fifth test. I don't know, so we want to find out, right? So let's say that's x. Then all this sum has to be at least 450. At least 450. That means minimum is 450 or it's got to be more than 450. Does it make sense? So we used greater than or equal to. So the sum, the total points must be greater than 450 or equal to 450. So that's the score that you need to get on the fifth test. All right, then let's solve this. Okay, add up all these four tests. Then that is 353. 353 plus x is greater than or equal to 450. And then in order to find x, let's subtract. Subtract, we don't change the symbol. We reverse the symbol when we multiply or multiply or divide by one number, negative number. Okay, we are just adding and subtracting, so it doesn't matter. So x is greater than or equal to, x is greater than or equal to what? Oh, this is 3, right? This is 3. 453. So x should be greater than or equal to 97. So the score on the fifth test must be 97 points at least. The minimum 97 or more. Then you can get an A. Can you see it? Okay. Let's try problem 1. Okay, problem 1. An appliance dealer will make a profit on the sale of a television set if the cost of the new set, so if the cost of a television set is less than 70% of the selling price, then he get a profit. So you have a selling price. I don't know what the selling price is. Let's say the selling price is, S dollars. So the cost, let's say the cost is C dollars. So the cost must be less than 70% of the selling price. Okay, so we can write it in equation like this. The cost of a new set should be less than 70%. Okay, 70% means 0.7, right? 0.7 S. Right? 0.7 S. 70% of this selling prices. Okay, so what minimum selling price will enable the dealer to make a profit on the television set that costs the dealer $340? So if the cost of a TV set is $340, that's the cost of the TV set, then what should be the selling price? That's what we're looking for. S is what we're looking for. So $340 should be less than 0.7 S. That's the equation. So let's find S, so that this dealer can get a profit. So the cost must be less than 70% of the selling price. So if the selling price is $100, then the cost must be less than $70, right? Less than 70. 70% of 100 is $70, so less than 70. Now the cost is 340, so let's find S. Okay, let's divide each side of this inequality by what? 0.7, right? 0.7. Okay, this is 7, 0.7. Then 340 divided by 0.7 is, use a calculator, that will be 485.714, so 72, like this, right? So S is greater than this number. S is greater than the. Why don't you interchange the sides? The whole thing, reflect everything. So right side goes to the left, and then this one is opening towards S, right? And then this number goes to the right. So the selling price must be greater than or equal to this number so that this guy can get a profit. What happens if the selling price is exactly same as this? Then 0, right? There's no profit. So if the selling price is less than this one, then he lose. So it's got to be greater than this number. Okay, exercise 2. Okay, the base of a triangle. Okay, the base of a triangle is, let's say this is 8 inches. Here's a triangle. 8 inches. And the height, this is the base. And let's say this is the height. And height is 3x minus 5 inches. Okay, express as an integer the maximum height. Okay, we want to find the maximum height of the triangle when the area is less than 112 square inches. So this means is less than 112, right? Then the area formula, what's the area formula of a triangle? So area of a triangle is what? 1/2 times base times height. Base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. So from here, the base is 8. And the height is 3x minus 5, right? And then divide by 2. So that is equal to 1/2. So let's find x. Okay? So let's find x. Then this x, then we can find the height. So from this height, we can find the integer. We can find the integer height, right? So let's, okay, so from this, okay, let's simplify and then find x. So you can reduce this 4, so this is 4 times 3x minus 5. Then 12x minus 20 is 112. Let's use a different color. Then plus 20 each side. So 12x is less than 132. Then divide each side by 132. We are dividing by 12, so we don't have to flip the symbol, right? Then x is less than, okay, 1 and 1, so 11. So x is 11. We found the value of x. So from this x is 11, then what is h? Okay, from this, we know that h is given. So h is 3 times 11 minus 5. That is 33 minus 5. So 28. So h is 28, right? 28 inches. So from this, okay, the area, if x is 28, then what happens? X is 28, then that is equal to 112, right? 112. X is less than 11. X has to be less than 11. X has to be less than 11. But we plug in 11, right? 11. So if we plug in 11, then the area is exactly equal to 112, right? So if x equals 28, then the area is equal to 112 square inches, right? So this one does not satisfy the inequality. The inequality must be less than this one. So and so the h, so not x, h, right? H. So the height, if the height is 28 inches, then the area is 112. But the area has to be less than 112. So we have to subtract h, subtract 1 from h, right? So 27 inches. Can you see it? So the maximum height is 27 inches. Why? Because we want to express as an integer the maximum height, as an integer. So since h has to be less than 28 inches, it can be like a 27.5, 27.9 inches, but we want to express it as what? Integer height. So integer is always, less than 1, subtract 1, 2, 3, from this number 28. So the maximum height is 28 minus 1, which is 27 inches. Get it? Okay. Not sure? Okay, here's the h. Okay, let's say this is h, and this is 28, and this is 27. 27, right? 26. So less than this number, not including this, and h has to be less than this number, 28. So the maximum integer is what? Isn't it 27? This one, right? This one? 27, right? Not 26, 27. So the closest integer to 28, but less than 28 is 27. So that's what we find. So that's the answer. Okay, problem 2. Okay, when you do this, please pause and then read the question and try to solve it. Okay, so company rent a car. They rent cars for $40 per day, and then 20 cents per mile driven outside a certain radius. So, okay, and then company B rents cars for $45 per day. And if they go outside in a certain radius, they charge you 15 cents per mile. So you want to rent a car for 1 week. So I want to rent a car for 1 week. 1 week is what? How many days? 7 days, right? 7 days. Okay, so what is the maximum number of miles you can drive a car, outside the given range? Okay, so if the cost, if the company A charges you less than company B, company B charges. So this means, okay, so I want to rent a car from company A, right? Company A. Then they will charge you, some amount for driving certain number of hours. Okay, the maximum number of miles you drive. So let's say this is X miles. Let's say I drive X miles. Okay. Then if I rent a car from company A, then it will charge me some amount, and company B, if I rent it from company B, then it will charge some amount, right? So the charging amount from company A is less than, it is to cost you less than, right? Less than the cost that company B charges you. So the charge from company A should be less than the charge from the company B. So that's the inequality. So from this inequality, we will find the number of miles that we can drive. So what's the total cost? I mean, the charge from company A, the charge is $40 per day, right? So $40 per day, and I'm renting for 1 week. So 1 week is 7 days, right? 7 days. So I gotta multiply $40 by 7. And then the number of miles I drive outside a certain radius is, company A charges 20 cents. So $0.2 times how many miles you drive? We don't know. Let's say X miles. So this is the total cost that, when you rent a car from company A, right? We don't know what X is. We want to find out X. And then that is less than the total charge that, when you rent a car from company B. So the company B will charge $45 per day, and I'm renting for 7 days. And when I drive X miles out of the range, then it will charge 15 cents. So 15 cents. So $0.15 times X. X is number of miles. So this is the amount, comes from the number of miles you drive. So from this, let's find X. Okay, then X. Okay, let's find X. Okay, so let's change the color. So that is 280 is less than 5. 315 plus 0.15x, right? And then combine the like terms. Oh no, let's collect this variable term to the left. Then 280 plus 0.05x is less than 315, right? And then what? Okay, so we need to get rid of this 200, so minus 280 each side. Then 0.05x is less than 35. And then we divide each side by what? 0.05. Do we need to flip the symbol? Inequality symbol? No, because 0.05 is a positive number, so you don't have to flip it. So we flip the symbol. When do we flip the symbol? Whenever you multiply or divide. Multiply, divide by what? Negative number. So from this, x is less than 7 and 0, 0. So x is 700 miles. So x has to be less than 700 miles, right? Less than. Then what is the integer mile? What's the mile, the maximum mile in integer? Isn't it 699, right? So okay, if you are not sure, then let's check this. Okay, let's say this is 700. 1 less than this 699, right? And another one is 698. So the integer, the maximum integer that is less than this 700. So if this guy travels, the number of miles that this guy can drive is maximum, okay, less than 700 miles. So that company A charges less. So the integer, this is the integer, right? This is the maximum. This is the maximum miles. Maximum miles that the person that I can drive. If I rent a car from company A, then they charge less than the company B charges. So x should be what? 699 miles. And actually, 699.9 miles is okay, but they charge you, maybe they round up, all right, round up. So 699 miles will be enough. So that's the maximum mile that I can drive. All right, well done.